Orcas versus great white sharks. In a battle of the apex predators, who wins? When we think of the ocean's top predators, most of us are probably going to picture sharks. More specifically, we're probably picturing the massive great white shark. This shark is considered the most voracious apex predator in temperate marine ecosystems worldwide, playing a key role in controlling ecosystem dynamics. The washed-up, mutilated carcasses of great whites signal a startling trend in the hunting habitats of one of the sea's greatest predators, killer whales. Before we get into some examples, here's what you need to know about our competitors. The legendary great white shark is a cartilaginous fish that has caused fear and admiration for many years. It is considered one of the biggest predators of the oceans and the fiercest, but there is more imagination than truth in this sentence. His reputation as a man-eater is also far from reality. Orcas, or killer whales, are the largest of the dolphins and one of the world's most powerful predators. They're immediately recognizable by their distinctive black and white coloring. Smart and social, orcas make a wide variety of communicative sounds, and each pod has distinctive noises that its members will recognize, even at a distance. They use echolocation to communicate and hunt, making sounds that travel underwater until they encounter objects, then bounce back, revealing their location, size, and shape. Size. The body of the white shark is robust and fusiform, about 4 to 7 meters in length, but the average is 6 meters. Its weight is between 3,000 and 3,400 kilograms. Adult females reach dimensions greater than males, which are usually 2 meters smaller. Orcas weigh up to 5,443 kilograms and grow up to 7 to 9.7 meters. That is almost as long as a school bus. The largest orca ever recorded was 9.8 meters long, according to SeaWorld. Distribution and habitat. The white shark is commonly found on the coasts of North America, in the Atlantic Ocean and in the Pacific. Outside of the American continent, the great white shark dwells mainly in the waters of South Africa, the Mediterranean Sea, Japan, and Oceania. There is a substantial population in the Dia Island in South Africa, and that is why there is a common place for research about their life. Their habitats include coasts and continental and insular platforms, whose waters do not surpass 1,875 meters of depth. In the open ocean, it inhabits to depths of up to 1,200 meters. Killer whales are the most widely distributed mammals, other than humans, according to SeaWorld. They live in the oceans and seas surrounding most coastal countries. They adapt very well to any climate. For example, they can live in the warm waters near the equator or the icy waters of the North and South Pole regions. Orcas are more likely to be found at higher latitudes and near the shore, though. Hunting and diet. The diet of this shark species is, of course, carnivorous. However, it does not usually feed on large species, but on smaller animals such as squids, rays, and other fish. Adult individuals also include other sharks, seals, sea lions, dolphins, and whale corpses. They sometimes catch turtles and seabirds to feed on them. They have a clear preference for fat, rich prey. They have different hunting strategies, depending on the target victim and the size of the species. The most usual approach is that once they detect by electroreception their possible food, they locate below and then stealthily swim vertically. Once closer, they inflict a deadly bite and wait for the animal to bleed and die, and then eat it. If the prey survives that, They try to hold it with their lower teeth while the upper tear the tissues. Orcas are apex predators, at the top of the food chain. No other animals hunt orcas. Killer whales feed on seabirds, squid, octopuses, sea turtles, sharks, rays, and fish. They also eat most marine animals, such as seals and dugongs. They are known to grab seals right off the ice. Orcas use many different techniques to catch prey. Sometimes they beach themselves to catch seals on land, meaning they jump from the water onto land. Orcas will also work together to catch larger prey or groups of prey such as schools of fish. It's difficult to imagine the voracious and predatory great white shark as prey. Could orcas really be overpowering them and removing their livers? In 2017, the bodies of 5 great white sharks washed up on the beaches of South Africa's Western Cape province. The bodies ranged in size from 9 feet to 16 feet, but each had large sets of puncture marks near the pectoral fins. The murderer of these sharks knew exactly where to bite to get what they wanted. Each of the sharks was missing their liver. Clearly, something even more formidable had been preying on them. Scientists determined then that only one other predator could pose such a danger to these killing machines. Indeed, the evidence was in their name: the killer whale. Orcas are also apex predators, and they can rival even the great white for their brutal killing efficiency. Orcas seem to have developed a way to take on the great white safely. In 1997, an orca was seen ramming into a great white shark off the coast of San Francisco. The force of the blow stunned the shark and gave the orca the opportunity to flip the great white over and hold it in that position. Sharks are susceptible to something called tonic immobility. When they are held upside down in the water, sharks become paralyzed because they require water to move across their gills while they swim in order to breathe. Thus, the orca was essentially able to drown the shark before feeding on it. Orcas are exceptionally intelligent animals and can even coordinate hunting behavior in packs like wolves. They've proven that they can easily disarm a great white in an attack. Why killer whales attack sharks? Those that say sharks are apex predators, that's not the case. As hard as it is to say, the killer whales are a step above. Large predators like the orca tend to go after prey animals that have a lot of rich blubber on their body, which means that most of the shark is unappealing as a meal. Certain parts of a shark, however, are appealing to killer whales. In each of the documented attacks, the orcas have made extremely precise bites on the sharks. Primarily, they target the livers, stomachs, and testes of the sharks. And this might actually explain what's going on. Sharks' livers have very high concentrations of oil and fats. They are also very large compared to other animals. This potentially makes a great white's liver one of the best sources of quick energy in the ocean. Orcas seem to have learned this and are targeting sharks specifically for their nutrient-rich livers. There are documented accounts of killer whales targeting sharks that date back decades. It's possible even that great whites may have been part of the killer whale's diet well before then. But the rising frequency of the attacks is a new development. Some scientists suggest that the answer could be the changes in the relative ranges of the animals. Shark populations have been growing due to restrictions on fishing. Global warming is expanding the geographical areas these sharks can live in. So sharks and killer whales may simply be sharing the water in close proximity more often. More gravely, it could be that killer whales are running out of their usual source of nutrition and are instead turning to great whites as an alternative meal. The good news for sharks is that they seem to be learning to adjust to the threat. Sharks have been seen leaving areas when they know that there are killer whales nearby. Giant squid versus sperm whale. Who would win this great ocean fight? Oceans are all about mysteries, and so is the case for giant squid and the sperm whale. Both species are unexplored due to their habitat. Giant squid live up to their name. The largest giant squid ever recorded by scientists was almost 43 feet, 13 meters long, and may have weighed nearly a ton. You'd think such a huge animal wouldn't be hard to miss. But because the ocean is vast and giant squid live deep underwater, they remain elusive and are rarely seen. Most of what we know comes from dead carcasses that floated to the surface and were found by fishermen. The sperm whale has many distinctive characteristics that differ from the other notable whale species. In fact, the sperm whale is actually in an entirely different family than the other popular whale species. This unique animal is the largest of the toothed whales, and its day-to-day life will simply captivate you. The sperm whale is the largest of the toothed whales, and makes many people think of the Moby Dick story when they see one. The name of this whale is from the huge bulbous organ containing a liquid wax called spermaceti. Size and description. There are 8 identified species that fall into the group of giant squids. They are very large in size, with the females being approximately 10 feet longer than the males. The maximum length of a female is 43 feet. The overall design of it is the same as other types of squid. It features the mantle, 8 arms, and 2 tentacles. The arms and tentacles are lined on the inner surface with round suction cups, containing serrated tooth-like chitin. They also have a tongue-like organ, covered with rows of teeth, that is inside the squid's beak. All giant squid have extremely large eyes, as big as basketballs. They are extremely fast and agile in the water. This is due to the overall design of their bodies. While it is unique in structure, it certainly works to their benefit. The sperm whale is the largest toothed whale. Males reach 60 feet, 17 meters, in length, and the smaller females are 37 feet, 12 meters. They are dark grey in color, have a hump rather than a dorsal fin, and usually display their tail flukes when they dive. Their skin is wrinkled to increase surface area for heat loss, giving them a shriveled look. Their heads make up 1/3 of their body length and are squarish in shape. They have a single S-shaped blowhole located far forward and to the left of their head, which produces a distinctive angled spout or blow. Males have about 40 to 50 teeth, located only in their narrow lower jaw. Females have even fewer teeth. Range and habitat. These squids can be found in deep oceans worldwide. Their distribution is incredibly widespread, with specimens found or captured from the North Atlantic Ocean near Norway and Newfoundland to the South Atlantic Ocean near South Africa. In the Pacific Ocean, they can be commonly found from Japan to Australia. It is rare to find them near tropical or polar regions. From what scientists have surmised, giant squids live in the deep sea, close to slopes in the seafloor. They are most frequently found near continental shelf slopes and island slopes. Because so little is known about these squids, they may very well frequent other deep-sea habitats as well. The sperm whale can be found in tropical and temperate oceans, and adult males are sometimes found at higher latitudes. They are found in virtually every ocean from the North to South Pole, but tend to remain in deep waters offshore in temperate and tropical seas. The sperm whale prefers habitats that are free from ice and inhabits depths of 3,300 feet on average, surfacing to breathe and sleep. They can be found frequently near underwater canyons and the edges of continental shelves. Diet. This squid tends to feed on medium-sized fish in the ocean. They will also eat smaller squid if they don't get enough other sources to select from. They use their tentacles to hold onto the prey and to squeeze it. They are able to use their teeth to shred the food and to swallow it. They tend to hunt on their own, which means they have access to the food they want. They generally will blend into the surroundings and wait for it to come along, then surprise it with a fierce attack that is fast and powerful. Sperm whales hunt for food during deep dives that routinely reach depths of 2,000 feet and can last for 45 minutes. They are capable of diving to depths of over 10,000 feet for over 60 minutes. After long, deep dives, individuals come to the surface to breathe and recover for approximately 9 minutes. Because sperm whales spend most of their time in deep waters, their diet consists of many larger species that also occupy deep ocean waters. This includes squid, sharks, skates, and fish. Sperm whales can consume about 3 to 3.5% of their body weight per day. Behavior. For the most part, the giant squid is harmless. The stories about them attacking sharks and people are myths. Due to the look of them, though, some assume they are aggressive in nature when it comes to their behavior. They are very busy creatures that tend to spend their time alone, except during mating. The complete reproduction process for the giant squid remains quite a mystery at this time. The males will fertilize the eggs for the female, and then she will lay them in the water. From there they hatch, and the offspring has to care for itself from the very start. Female and young sperm whales live and travel together in pods, which allows them to use an interesting tactic to protect their young from other predators. The whales of the pod will surround the threatened individual, using their massive bodies to form a barrier. Male sperm whales typically only interact with other members of their species when they are breeding. They will occasionally form small bachelor pods, but do not generally live with the pods of females and their young. When breeding, the males will battle each other, and the dominant animal will mate with multiple females. Now let's get back to our big question. Who would win a fight between a giant squid and a sperm whale? It's hard to say who would win such a fight, and that's because the giant squid lives in very deep waters, and a fight like this has never been seen or filmed. One hypothesis, proposed more than 20 years ago, speculated the whales used powerful ultrasound shrieks to knock their squid prey senseless before scooping them up. While controversial among scientists, the idea has become a part of whale lore, adding to the mystery that surrounds the clandestine struggles between leviathan and squids that occur within the ocean depths every day. But this is just speculation. Though giant squid are encountered remarkably rarely by people, they are thought to make up about 3/4 of sperm whales' diet in the Southern Ocean. Giant squid have excellent eyesight, a keen sense of smell, and the ability to squirt jets of dark ink that mask their escape. But these skills provide little protection against toothed whales, like the sperm whale, which hunt them ruthlessly and easily. Even if the giant squid especially is equipped with a fearsome arsenal of weapons, including barbed swiveling hooks, and often leave scars on the bodies of sperm whales, the number of colossal squid beaks found in the stomachs of sperm whales indicates that the latter often win. So in my opinion, the giant squid is only a meal for the sperm whale. I'm waiting for your opinion. Great white shark versus tiger shark. Who will win a fight between these two sharks? Tiger sharks and great whites are two of the biggest and most powerful predators on Earth. They sit at the top of the food chain and eat anything that swims their way. Dolphins, turtles, or other sharks. The great white shark is the very picture of ferocity and shark attacks. Great whites are not mindless killers in search of human flesh. These apex predators are horribly misunderstood and deserve our respect. Tiger sharks are a large species of predatory shark, native to subtropical and tropical coastlines worldwide. They are a large species, and exceptional individuals can reach 18 feet long and possibly longer. This shark's name comes from the dark, stripe-like pattern on its skin, which resembles a tiger's stripes. However, the stripes do fade as they grow older. Size and description. The great white shark averages 15 feet, 4.5 meters in length, but some have been recorded as large as 20 feet, 6 meters long. They generally weigh up to 5,000 pounds, 2,250 kilograms. Sharks have secondary rows of teeth behind the front row. These backup teeth are ready to move into place if a tooth is lost, and the teeth will continue to grow in this conveyor belt fashion. Great white sharks are blue-grey on the dorsal or top part of their bodies. This helps them blend in with the bottom of the ocean when viewed from above. The belly or ventral part of the body is white. This makes it difficult to see the sharks from below, with sunlight shining in around them. They have strong torpedo-shaped bodies and powerful tails that help them swim. The tiger shark reaches a maximum length of 24.6 feet, 7.5 meters, but on average measures between 10 to 14 feet, 3 to 4.2 meters long, while its weight ranges between 848 to 1,400 pounds, 385 and 635 kilograms. This shark has dark stripes on its skin, similar to those of the land tigers. However, in the case of these sharks, these bands fade as the individual gets old. The background color of their skin is bluish-green or dark gray in the upper area, and the ventral region is a yellowish color or white. Its fusiform body has a narrow snout and a blunt nose. Its tail has the upper lobe larger than the lower, and its mandible has serrated teeth important to break the hard shells of the clams and the sea turtles. It possesses an excellent sense of sight, as well as smell. Range and habitat. Great white sharks live in oceans between 54 degrees and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 degrees and 24 degrees Celsius, and can be found in most oceans with these conditions worldwide. Their habitat is dictated less by their preferences and more by the preferences of their prey. Great whites are found in higher numbers in areas that have rich prey options. They can be found both in the open ocean and close to the coasts. Some of the highest concentrations are found in the northeast United States, off the coast of California, the Mediterranean Sea, South Africa, Chile, and Japan. Dyer Island in South Africa has the greatest known population density. You can generally find tiger sharks close to the coast in any subtropical or tropical ocean. They range from Japan to New Zealand in the western Pacific Ocean, and from the southwestern United States to South America in the eastern Pacific Ocean. From the western Pacific, their range spreads to the coasts of India and eastern Africa. In the Atlantic Ocean, tiger sharks reside off the coast of northwest Africa, and from the eastern United States to South America. These sharks prefer warm, coastal waters and avoid temperate and Arctic regions. They usually live in deep waters off the edges of coral reefs, and is also known to roam in shallow waters. They spend a day in deeper waters and move closer to the coast to hunt at night. As with most shark species, they are oceanic and require salt water to live. Diet. White sharks are carnivores that prey upon a number of large animals. They have been known to eat large fish, rays, seals, sea lions, dolphins, and whales. Until they reach 10 feet long, juvenile sharks' jaws are not strong enough to prey on large animals. Instead, younger sharks feed mostly on large fish. Once they reach 13 feet in length, they transfer to a diet of marine mammals. They will also prey on sea turtles, sea otters, and seabirds. Great white sharks are very smart hunters. Generally, they use specific strategies to catch their prey, such as surprising their prey from below. The tiger shark diet is made up of fish, mollusks, crustaceans, sea turtles, seabirds, and even mammals such as the dugong. It also consumes small sharks and the remains of dead whales. Tiger sharks have an enormous appetite and can eat almost anything they find in their path. That is why, if they run into non-edible objects or junk, they do not hesitate to eat them, even without trying them first. In their stomachs, trash, bags, and even license plates have been found. However, these sharks have one disadvantage. If their victim begins to flee, they recoil and do not pursue it, since they do not engage in high-speed chases. Behavior. The structure and behavior of the great white social network is still a big mystery. Normally, they are mavericks and loners, free thinkers who spend much time alone. When they do meet or swim in groups, they typically avoid conflict and dominance battles. However, there are places, such as the waters around Africa, where great white sharks show a distinct hierarchy. Females tend to dominate males, and larger sharks dominate smaller ones. Local sharks seem to dominate newcomers, and in order to show strength, more dominant sharks may give warning bites to the submissives. As with many other predators, cannibalism does occur, although it's believed to be a rare occurrence. The tiger shark is a fish that prefers to live alone, unless it is in the mating period. During that time, it meets with other tiger sharks and groups, establishing a social hierarchy based on their size. So larger individuals have access to prey before the small ones. Once the elders are satisfied, the others can approach the carcasses of the unfortunate prey. Despite this dominating behavior, violence between members is almost nil. These sharks perform their hunting activities during the nights, and because of their indiscriminate eating habits, they usually ingest non-edible objects and taste human flesh, although attacks are rare. Who would win a fight between these two sharks? The great white or the tiger shark? Tigers and great whites are the biggest predatory sharks alive today. Even though it is possible for the tiger shark to exceed the great white in length, this is only half the story, though. Great whites have a much heavier build than tiger sharks. A white shark will generally weigh more than a tiger shark of the same size. There's a very good reason why these fish are shaped so differently. They hunt in completely opposite ways. Great whites are all about power and speed, shock and awe. They lurk in the deep, then burst up, hitting their prey before it even sees them coming. They're famous for jumping clean out of the water, sending their unfortunate meal flying through the air if they don't catch it in their jaws. Tiger sharks are the ninjas of the reef. They hunt mainly at night, drifting slowly through shallow water with small, sleek movements. Their patterned body makes them impossible to spot as they approach their prey. Once they're in range, they pounce. A flip of their tail rockets them forward, and they kill or incapacitate their prey with sharp, serrated teeth. In my opinion, the average great white would probably win against the average tiger shark, as great whites are generally taller, heavier, and more powerful. Orca whales are pretty much the only things in the ocean that pose a threat to adult white sharks. In fact, there's only one animal that seeks out and hunts these incredible creatures, and sadly, that's us. Other than that, they have no opponent.
Killer whale versus giant squid. Who would win? Be thankful your ancestors didn't require you to have gills and live in the water, because the ocean is a terrifying place. Giants lurking in the deep, killers that move with such speed, they make an Olympic swimmer look like a sloth. Perfect examples of these specimens are the killer whale and the giant squid. Enormous animals that dwarf many in their path. So what would happen if the two fought? Who would win this gigantic underwater battle? And once that subscribe button isn't submerged underwater and dries off, pat it dry and tap it for updates. What do they look like? There's a lot of humongous animals in the ocean. Let's make sure we know just which giants that we're talking about. The killer whale, also called the orca, is a toothed whale that is part of the dolphin family. The killer whale is by far the largest member of the dolphin family. The males are generally 25 feet long and 6 tons, which is 12,000 pounds. But they can reach 32 feet and 20,000 pounds in some instances. Killer whales have a distinctive look with their pigmentation, mainly featuring black coloring across their body with patches of white, especially the lower jaw and the underside. When you look at the body of a killer whale, it is similar to a dolphin's body if you blew it up and made it more robust. They're muscular and extremely powerful animals with rounded pectoral fins that look a bit like paddles. The dorsal fins are much larger in the males and are shaped like an isosceles triangle, whereas the female's fins are more curved, like that of a shark's fin. Then you have the giant squid, who couldn't look more different from the killer whale. We've all seen octopuses and squids, the smaller guys, but what's the difference? One distinction is that an octopus has 8 appendages and a squid has 10. Most squids are about 2 to 3 feet long, which is what makes the giant squid such an interesting case. He isn't just the biggest kind of squid, he is enormous compared to his cousins. A giant squid can be 40 feet in total length, 50 feet. One was even recorded at 59 feet long and weighed nearly a ton. The giant squid, like all squids, has 10 appendages. However, 8 are classified as arms and the other 2 are longer tentacles. The insides of the arms and tentacles are lined with hundreds of suction cups, the circumference of these cups being lined with sharp serrated chitin, which is essentially the teeth. Giant squids do have small fins at the rear of their mantles. They also have a pair of gills and a beak. Not only is the giant squid the largest living invertebrate, he also has the largest eyes of any living animal. Should be easy for him to see you. So where can you see him? Where do they live? So obviously you can find the giant squid in the ocean, but that isn't narrowing it down. The oceans cover over 70% of the Earth's surface. So where in the expansive oceans can it be found? Well, there have been giant squids found in several areas, in the Atlantic Ocean off the North American coast, as far south as Florida and as far north as Greenland, as well as off the coasts of European countries like Norway, England, Iceland, and near the Azores, and even in pockets off the coast of northwestern Africa. There have been giant squids in the Pacific Ocean off the coasts of the contiguous United States, Hawaii, and even Japan, and then many found in the Southern Ocean off the coasts of the south of Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. They're usually found in deep cold waters off of continental and island slopes, and though it isn't completely known, the estimates are that they inhabit areas between 1,000 and 3,000 feet deep. Now, if you're looking for killer whales, well, they can be found all over. They can be located in all oceans and most seas. They prefer higher latitudes and coastal areas over pelagic environments. Really, killer whales can be found everywhere, near Norway and Iceland, off the western coast of the US near California and Alaska, near New Zealand, Argentina, Antarctica, you name it. However, their migration patterns are poorly understood. Researchers will see the same pods arrive in places like British Columbia every summer, but they are unsure exactly where they go the rest of the year. What do they eat? We may not know exactly where the killer whales are going through much of the year, but we know one thing they're doing wherever they are. Eating lots of different marine life. They typically stay in more shallow waters to catch their prey, but depending on where they live and what their prey is, they've been known to dive over 1,000 feet for food. Some of the main animals that they feast on are cephalopods, mammals, seabirds, sea turtles, and of course fish. The killer whales near Norway and Greenland will follow the migration patterns of herring in order to eat them. Killer whales in the Pacific will eat a lot of salmon. In many regions, and especially in New Zealand, killer whales will eat plenty of stingrays and sharks. The sharks they may eat include hammerheads, macos, blue sharks, and yes, even the baddest shark of them all, the great white shark. The reason orcas were dubbed killer whales long ago was because fishermen saw them hunting, killing, and eating other whales. Larger whales. So really, there isn't much the killer whale can't take down if he decides he wants to. The giant squid, since he lives at such great depths, eats a lot of deep sea fish, which includes the orange ruffy and the blue grenadier. Any other creatures in the deep sea are up for game too, like shrimp and krill. It's been suggested the giant squid may occasionally attack and eat smaller whales when they are able to. And when food is scarce, yes, they will even eat smaller squids. They may be related, but they are not the same, and they are so much smaller. The giant squid is an excellent example of abyssal gigantism, meaning he is far larger than his shallow-watered cousins due to the fact that he lives at such great depths. He can grow so much larger. He doesn't look at smaller squids as friends, he looks at them as food. How do they behave in the wild? So what does a giant squid do when he wants to have a meal? Well, remember those giant eyes, bigger than any other animal's eyes? They're not just for show. Giant squids have excellent vision and even use light emitted from bioluminescent creatures in the deep waters to find their prey. They use those two long tentacles to reach out and snatch prey from a distance. Now remember those suction cups on his arms and tentacles, the ones with the teeth on them? Yeah, those have incredible abilities to hold the prey tightly, so they can't get away. The giant squid brings the prey in towards the other 8 arms, where the prey is then shredded and brought into the beak to be eaten. Usually the giant squid is seen alone, suggesting that they largely live solitary lives. The killer whale is quite the opposite. Killer whales live in pods which could be anywhere from 5 to 30 individuals, but they'll sometimes combine their pods with others and could be in a group of 100 individuals. Typically, the pod will be made up of mothers, daughters, sisters, cousins, and their children. The males will do one of a few things. They may live with a pod their entire life, but leave temporarily to mate. They may leave and start their own pod, or they may become a lone male. Their social structures are so complex that they can only be compared to the complex social structures of elephants and primates. This is why when killer whales are taken away from their families and held in captivity, they go, well, killer. And in the wild, boy do they go killer there too. Killer whales have a variety of ways that they hunt. They use their echolocation to find their prey in the water, and then from there they have a whole repertoire of moves. They will often coordinate attacks together, ambushing their prey suddenly, sometimes herding them into a specified area, and blocking off escape routes before attacking. When going after fish, they'll slap their enormous tails at them to stun them and make them easier to catch. When going after seals, they may throw themselves from the water out onto the beaches just to grab a meal, allowing the waves to pull them back in after. They may hunt whales and force them deep below the water, ramming them, biting them, exhausting them, and causing them to eventually run out of air. If it's a fish or a shark that doesn't need air below the surface, then the killer whales may employ the opposite technique: force them up. Orcas don't just kill, they kill any way that they need to. What if they fought? You're hearing about how these animals are both enormous, how they both dominate their prey, so you're thinking, what if the two of them fought? Who would win between a killer whale and a giant squid? Both are successful predators, apex predators in their habitats. Both are among the largest predators of the ocean, but technically neither is the largest predator in the ocean. That title belongs to a sperm whale. Here's the thing, pods of killer whales have taken down sperm whales. Sperm whales have gone after giant squids to later be found with marks left on their heads from those vicious suction cups. Both the killer whale and the giant squid can fend off the largest predator in the ocean, so they know how to handle giants. How do the two giants handle each other? Killer whales often hunt in pods, but this killer whale is alone. That's okay, he can hunt alone too. The giant squid is used to hunting alone. Sometimes he hunts for whales, sometimes the killer whale hunts for cephalopods. Appears that they both look at the other as a potential meal. The giant squid can move quickly, soaring through the water at 25 miles per hour. He could close the gap quickly on the killer whale, but the killer whale can close the gap even quicker, hitting speeds of 35 miles per hour. However, the giant squid has the long-range attack, extending those massive tentacles out at the killer whale and latching on with those killer suction cups. See, the giant squid is not just much larger than the killer whale. His tentacles are so long that he could grab onto the killer whale from a distance. However, when the giant squid is looking for small whales to hunt, he generally is not looking for a killer whale. These things are too fast, too agile, and too powerful. Those suction cups and teeth could do some damage if the giant squid managed to latch on, but if the killer whale didn't evade them in the first place, he'd likely break free from them anyway. And then, which way would you like the killer whale to fight? He's got many ways. His powerful tail could be slapped into the body of the giant squid, doing damage. The giant squid would be attempting to latch on with his tentacles, all while the killer whale is employing other attacks, using his muscular body as a battering ram, inflicting so much damage as he may not be as long as the giant squid, but he massively outweighs him. And we repeat, do not let the killer whale's mouth get too close, or else, Mr. Giant Squid, you are done. The killer whale doesn't just have the strongest bite in the animal kingdom, his bite is nearly 4 times stronger than the animal that ranks number 2. 19,000 pounds of force per square inch. You can't even fathom the pain that would come with that. It's so strong, the killer whale's prey may not even feel it. It would just instantly turn the lights out. The giant squid is gigantic, one of the largest predators in the ocean, and he is far longer than the killer whale. But he doesn't have nearly the same mass, the same weight, the same power. The killer whale takes down anyone and everyone. Jaws was a movie with a great white shark, and everyone was terrified of that shark. The killer whale treats Jaws like a plaything. The giant squid has size and he'd put up a fight, but he just doesn't have the same type of strength associated with this killer whale, this largest member of the dolphin family, this ultimate apex predator on planet Earth.
Killer whale versus saltwater crocodile. What happens when these two animals meet? The killer whale is one of the largest of the toothed whales, and possibly the most famous. Also called orcas, killer whales are incredibly intelligent predators, which hunt a variety of prey species. Because killer whales can be kept in human care, we conduct more thorough scientific research about them than some of the other whale species. Saltwater crocodiles are the largest living reptiles on Earth. At their largest, these saltwater crocodiles can grow up to 23 feet long. These massive creatures are known by a slew of names, including sea crocodile, Indo-Pacific crocodile, salty, marine crocodile, and estuarine crocodile. Size and description. Orcas are distinctively marked, with a black back, white chest and sides, and a white patch above and behind the eye. Orcas have a heavy and stocky body, and a large dorsal fin with a dark grey saddle patch at the fin's rear. Male orcas can range from 19 to 26 feet long, 6 to 8 meters, and weigh in excess of 6 tons. Female orcas are smaller, growing from 5 to 7 meters, 16 to 23 feet, and a weight of about 5 tons. The orca's large size and strength make them the fastest marine mammals, often reaching speeds in excess of 56 kilometers, 35 miles per hour. Unlike most dolphins, the pectoral fin of an orca is large and rounded, and used more of as a paddle than in any other dolphin species. At about 1.8 meters, 6 feet, the dorsal fin of the male is more than twice the size of the female's, and it is more of a triangle shape, a tall, elongated isosceles triangle, whereas the dorsal fin of the female is shorter and generally more curved. Saltwater crocodiles are the largest reptilian species alive today. Adult males can reach up to sizes of 19 to 22 feet, 6 to 7 meters, and can easily weigh over 2,000 pounds, 900 kilograms. Females are much smaller and do not generally exceed 3 meters. The head is very large, and a pair of ridges run from the eyes along the center of the snout. Young saltwater crocodiles are pale yellow in color, with black stripes and spots on the body and tail. This coloration lasts for several years, until the crocodile matures into an adult. The color as an adult is much darker, with lighter tan or gray areas. The ventral surface is white or yellow in color. Saltwater crocodiles have a heavy set jaw, which contains up to 68 teeth. Range and habitat. Killer whales are the most widely distributed mammals, other than humans. They live in the oceans and seas surrounding most coastal countries. They adapt very well to any climate. For example, they can live in the warm waters near the equator or the icy waters of the North and South Pole regions. These animals do not stay in one area and have been documented traveling long distances. For example, one study found a group of orcas traveling all the way from the waters off of Alaska to those near central California. The area of distribution of saltwater crocodiles covers a vast territory. They inhabit the islands of Indonesia and New Guinea, as well as northern coasts of Australia. The crocodiles also occur along the shores of Sri Lanka and eastern India. They live at the estuaries of Southeast Asia to central Vietnam. The saltwater crocodile can also be found in Borneo, the Philippines, Palau, Vanuatu, and the Solomon Islands. At the dry season, they most frequently occur downstream at estuaries, sometimes living in the open sea. With the approaching of the wet season, they move to freshwater bodies, inhabiting swamps and rivers. Diet. Killer whales are exceptionally successful predators. They eat a wide variety of large prey, including seals, sea lions, smaller whales and dolphins, fish, sharks, squid, octopi, sea turtles, seabirds, sea otters, river otters, and other animals. They swallow small prey whole, but tend to tear up larger prey before consumption. Killer whales are social hunters. They often hunt in packs and use coordinated social behavior and communication to hunt prey larger than themselves, such as larger whales. Saltwater crocodiles are carnivorous. Their diet differs with the age. Thus, young crocodiles primarily feed upon small prey, such as insects, amphibians, crustaceans, as well as some small species of fish and reptile. Adult individuals consume larger prey, preferring mud crabs, snakes, turtles, birds, wild boars, monkeys, and buffaloes. Behavior. Killer whales are highly social, and social structure is complex. They travel in pods, which can contain several to as many as 50 individuals. There has even been reports of hundreds of individuals in one pod, but this was a temporary association between a group of smaller pods. Killer whales have limited dispersal from the maternal pod, and young whales are always part of their mother's pod. Individuals in pods swim within 100 meters of each other and coordinate their activities. They may share prey and rarely leave the pod for more than a few hours. Killer whales teach pod members through apprenticeship. Skill in hunting and parenting are among the skills taught to younger whales. The saltwater crocodile has been thought of as one of the most intelligent and sophisticated of all reptiles. Their barks are a way of communicating with one another. The saltwater crocodile spends most of its time thermogulating to maintain its body temperature. These creatures are highly territorial and do not tolerate one another's presence. Males will share their territory with females, but not other males. Females are territorial as well and will protect their nests from other crocodiles and anything else that gets too close. Now it's time to find out who would win a fight between a killer whale and a saltwater crocodile. From the previous videos, we know that a killer whale can easily kill a great white shark, and even saltwater crocodiles can kill a white shark. I don't think there are any documented encounters between the two. However, it's very likely that under normal circumstances, there's no reason for them to confront each other. A crocodile wouldn't start the fight, most likely, because they wouldn't bother hunting prey this big. A crocodile would retaliate if an orca attacked the crocodile for food. We already know that orcas are more than capable of easily preying on great white sharks. One orca can simply ram the belly of the shark with such force that it paralyzes it. Once the shark is upside down and immobile, it becomes an easy meal for the pod of orcas. The orca can easily do the same thing to the saltwater crocodile, and orcas can dive much further down in depth as the ocean is their natural habitat. So who can't say the fate of the crocodile will be the same? The only problem would be that crocodiles wouldn't be able to open their jaws wide enough to grab and crush an orca head. They could potentially bite their flippers off or disembowel their side. I think the orca will win, regardless of fighting in deep water or in a shallower river. As long as the water is waist deep, the orca can maneuver through the water, and its weight is just too big for the saltwater crocodile to do damage. A single orca can easily prey on the largest great whites, and is a mammal, so it has better thinking capabilities, and thus it would destroy the saltwater crocodile. Even if crocodile armor is way too tough for an orca to penetrate, except for the underbelly. Also, crocodiles are cold-blooded, so they tire a lot easier.
Dolphin versus shark. What happens when these two sea animals meet? Sharks are frequently considered to be among the ocean's top apex predators, but despite this rather prestigious classification, most sharks prefer to completely avoid coming into contact with bottlenose dolphins. Although the majority of people may think of bottlenose dolphins as gentle and pacified marine mammals, it is well known that these animals are capable of becoming aggressive when they choose to, especially when assembling in large groups or in what is known as a pod. Sharks are vaguely aware of this because even these sea-dwelling predators can become victims of a dolphin pod's bad behavior when it is just them swimming around. To make this fight fair, we will choose a tiger shark, which is quite close in size to the bottlenose dolphin. What do they look like? Dolphins are small-toothed cetaceans, a group of marine mammals that evolved from land mammals. They have a streamlined body, flippers, blowholes, and a layer of blubber for insulation, among other adaptations that make them well suited for life in water. Dolphins have curved beaks, which give the impression that they are always smiling. On average, bottlenose dolphins reach a length of 10 to 14 feet, 3 to 4.2 meters, and weigh around 1,100 pounds, 500 kilograms. This dolphin has grey skin that is pale on its flanks and dark grey on its back. The species can be identified visually by its elongated rostrum, which sets it apart from other dolphins. The flukes, tail, and dorsal fin of a dolphin are made of connective tissue and have no muscle or bone. The pectoral fins are similar to human arms in that they are made up of bones and muscles. Compared to bottlenose dolphins living in shallow water, those living in colder, deeper waters typically have more blood and fat. The dolphin can swim over 30 kilometers per hour thanks to its streamlined body. Tiger sharks can achieve weights of 850 to 1,400 pounds, 385 to 635 kilograms, and lengths of 10 to 14 feet, 3 to 4.2 meters. It is the second largest predator after great white sharks. As sharks get older, the dark stripes on their skin start to fade. The ventral region is white or yellowish, whereas the upper skin is dark grey or bluish-green in color. Tiger sharks can camouflage into their environment thanks to their skin. It employs counter-shading as it camouflages with both the light and dark sides. Tiger sharks can turn on one side thanks to their wedge-shaped heads. Small ampullae of Lorenzini pits on their snouts enable them to detect electric fields while hunting. They can sever through bone, flesh, and even turtle shells with their relatively short but broad teeth. Where do they live? Bottlenose dolphins are found in temperate and tropical waters around the world. They inhabit a wide variety of habitats, including harbors, bays, gulfs, and estuaries, as well as near-shore coastal waters, deeper waters over the continental shelf, and even far offshore in the open ocean. In the United States, bottlenose dolphins are found along the west coast off California, Oregon, and Washington, in the Hawaiian Islands, along the east coast from Massachusetts to Florida, throughout the Gulf of Mexico, and in the Caribbean. Tiger sharks can be found in Africa, China, India, Indonesia, Japan, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. They can also be found in the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean Sea, and between North America and Brazil. Tiger sharks are typically found in much shallower waters than their size would indicate they should. These saltwater species can swim up to 40 feet from the shore in shallow waters. Tiger sharks are migratory, but during the winter they frequently stay close to the equator and swim with warm currents. What do they hunt, and what do they eat? Dolphins are carnivorous. They hunt shrimp, cuttlefish, and mollusks in addition to eating primarily fish. Different hunting tactics are used by different bottlenose dolphin groups. They sometimes herd fish together while hunting as a pod. Sometimes a dolphin will hunt by itself, usually looking for species that live on the bottom. Dolphins may hunt alongside fishermen or collaborate with other species to catch prey. A group offshore from South Carolina and Georgia employs the tactic known as strand feeding. In strand feeding, the pod circles a school of fish in an effort to catch prey in the flow. The school of fish is then pushed onto a mudflat by dolphins as they charge toward the fish. The dolphins crawl around on land to collect their prize. The tiger shark is a solitary hunter, usually hunting at night. Known for devouring a variety of prey, the tiger shark is a dangerous predator. Fish, seals, birds, smaller sharks, squid, and turtles represent the majority of its diet. In its digestive tract, it has occasionally been discovered to contain man-made waste, like pieces of old tires or license plates. The tiger shark is frequently referred to as the bane of Hawaiian surfers and the wastebasket of the sea, due to its reputation in Hawaii for attacking swimmers, divers, and surfers. How do they behave in the wild? Bottlenose dolphins are very social animals. Typically living in groups ranging from just a few individuals to more than 100, they form several types of groups, which include nursery groups, juvenile groups, and groups of adult males. They engage both in aggressive behavior, such as biting, ramming, and tail slapping, and behavior of bonding and acceptance behavior, such as rubbing and stroking. When feeding, common bottlenose dolphin pods often work as a team to harvest schools of fish, though they also hunt individually. Dolphins search for prey primarily using echolocation, which is a form of sonar. They emit a vast range of squeaks, grunts, and whines, which are categorized into 3 groups: echolocation clicks, whistles, and pulse sounds. Dolphins also communicate through touch. The tiger shark's behavior is primarily nomadic, but it is guided by warmer currents and stays closer to the equator during the colder months. The tiger shark is known to be aggressive. The shark's ability to detect low-frequency pressure waves allows it to approach an animal with confidence, even in murky water. The tiger shark is known to circle its prey and even study it by prodding it with its snout. When attacking, the shark consumes all of its prey. It's also known as the man-eater shark. Now let's find out who would win in a fight between a bottlenose dolphin and a tiger shark. Finding out what occurs beneath the waves can be challenging. The abilities required to start a fight, avoid enemies, and fend off threats are given by each creature's size, speed, and senses. Analyze the physical characteristics of a shark and a dolphin to determine which one poses the greatest threat. Regarding the size, since we chose a shark the size of a bottlenose dolphin, we can say that neither will have any advantage. Both are also excellent swimmers. Sharks and dolphins both attack prey with their teeth. Sharks can bite very tough. They actually have one of the planet's strongest measured bites, at 4,000 psi or more. When compared to sharks, dolphins' bite power is very weak. Sharks have much deadlier teeth and a much stronger bite than dolphins. Dolphins can use echolocation to detect other animals with incredible accuracy. They also have good vision and excellent hearing sense. Sharks, on the other hand, also have powerful senses. Even in low lighting, they have good vision. They have a keen sense of smell and can detect substances in water in concentrations of 1 part per 10 billion. Dolphins are effective killers when hunting for food. Although dolphins are capable of attacking prey with their snout, larger fish are not easily dispatched by this method. Sharks are fast-moving predators that chase down and brutally attack their prey. They typically sense prey and then check what the creature is to make sure that it's edible. Then they make a serious attack. They thrash and clamp down with all of their might, breaking off and swallowing substantial chunks. Sharks are far more effective fighters. A shark would win in a fight against a dolphin. Compared to others, they are more sensitive to predators. Furthermore, their mouths are actually large enough to bite down on a dolphin and deal fatal damage. Dolphins, while smart and have the physical capabilities to fend off an attack by a shark, could not do enough damage to kill a shark alone. The thrashing, tearing bites of the shark would completely tear apart the dolphin, leaving it to die in minutes. Dolphins are smart though. Their best bet is to actively avoid sharks whenever possible. Things would be different if we were talking about a pod of dolphins against a single shark. Then surely the dolphins would win.
Who would win in a fight? A great white shark or a saltwater crocodile? The legendary great white shark is a cartilaginous fish that has caused fear and admiration for many years. It is considered one of the biggest predators of the oceans and the fiercest, but there is more imagination than truth in this sentence. Crocodiles are large reptiles found in tropical regions of Africa, Asia, the Americas, and Australia. They are members of the order Crocodile, which also includes caimans, gharials, and alligators. Earth's largest living crocodilian, and some say the animal most likely to eat a human, is the saltwater crocodile. Description: the body of the white shark is robust and fusiform, about 13 to 22 feet in length, but the average is 19 feet. Its weight is between 6,600 pounds and 7,500 pounds. Adult females reach dimensions greater than males, which are usually 6.5 feet smaller. It has a narrow pointed snout, 2 pectoral fins and a first dorsal fin with a triangle shape. The caudal fin is crescent-shaped, and its upper and lower lobe are long and of very similar size, almost symmetrical. The mouth measures 3 to 4 feet wide. It has small onyx eyes and nostrils towards the end of the snout. It exhibits discoloration of the body because while the back is grey or blue, the lower area is lighter. This characteristic gives an advantage when hunting because prey do not notice the figure of the shark, which is confused with the bottom of the ocean. The saltwater crocodile have a body length between 16 and 23 feet, and they weigh between 882 to 1,543 pounds, with males being much larger than females. They are grey or brown in colour, and they have a broad, heavy-set body with a large head. Their jaws are strong, and they have short, strong limbs. They have ridges that run from their eyes to their nose, and this is particularly prominent in older animals. Saltwater crocodiles have a valve that seals off the mouth from the throat, and this enables them to open their mouth while they are underwater. However, they cannot eat their prey underwater, as swallowing would allow water into their throat, so they either have to drag their prey onto land or raise their head above the water to swallow. Distribution and habitat. The distribution area of the great white shark is very extended. It can be found in tropical coastal waters, as well as temperate and even cold. It is commonly found on the coasts of North America, from Newfoundland to southern Mexico in the Atlantic Ocean, and from Alaska to southern Mexico in the Pacific. Outside of the American continent, the great white shark dwells mainly in the waters of South Africa, the Mediterranean Sea, Japan, and Oceania. There is a substantial population in the Dia Island in South Africa, and that is why there is a common place for research about their life. Saltwater crocs, or salties, inhabit the mangrove swamps, coastal marshes, and river mouths around the top of Western Australia, the Northern Territory, and Queensland. They will travel as far upstream as they can swim, often taking advantage of seasonal floods to access areas which are normally too difficult to reach. Saltwater crocodiles are also quite capable of living in the open ocean for periods of time, and will cross large expanses of water to reach new areas. This dispersal ability means they are widespread in Southeast Asia, New Guinea, and some of the Pacific Islands. Behavior. The great white shark is a fish, mostly solitary, although it can reunite with others of its same species. He has been seen a few times accompanied by a female or a male, and even in small groups. In their groups, it is likely that there is hierarchical dominance, and the females are in the lead. But among all, large individuals dominate the small ones, and the residents of the group for a long time dominate the newcomers. This shark is active both day and night. Interestingly, they jump out of the water sometimes to look at the surroundings and look for prey. They are not aggressive with their own species, but if they feel threatened, they may bite the antagonist as a warning. Most people expressly fear the great white shark and consider it a man-eater predator. Definitively, it is a powerful, aggressive, and efficient predator, but it has no preference for humans. The attacks usually happen because the shark confuses a person with prey, and as a consequence, they give a test bite. But it is unlikely that it keeps eating once it finds that it is not its usual food. The saltwater crocodile has been thought of as one of the most intelligent and sophisticated of all reptiles. Their barks are a way of communicating with one another. The saltwater crocodile is thought to have 4 different calls. The saltwater crocodile spends most of its time thermogulating to maintain its body temperature. If they become too hot, they often go into the water with only their eyes and nostrils showing, and stay submerged until they are cooled. If they become too cold, they lay in the sun on flat rocks until they warm up. Now let's see who wins this battle. 1. Bite force. Although having a huge jaw, the great whites don't have the highest bite force amongst sharks due to their diet. Biting through a seal's skin is very different than biting through the shells of a turtle. There are reports from computer modeling that a GWS is capable of a bite force exceeding 1,000 kilograms based on its jaw and skeleton structure. Australian saltwater crocodiles have the world's most ferocious jaws, snapping shut with 2-ton force that makes great whites look toothless. 2. Tooth type. Again, due to their usual prey types, crocs and sharks have very different types of teeth. A crocodile's prey is typically not only larger than a shark's, but also have much stronger bones and skins. A croc's teeth, therefore, not only needs to be able to tear flesh off the wildebeest through death spin, but also needs to be strong enough to crush the thick leg bones of these mammals. A great white shark, on the other hand, does not need to crunch such bones. Great white sharks tear flesh off their prey by biting and thrashing their head, and their serrated teeth are more mechanically similar to a saw than a dagger. Their teeth are not actually designed to brace huge pressure, as they are replaceable. They have rows and rows of spare teeth behind each visible tooth, ready to replace them in the event they fall off during a struggle. 3. Armor. A GWS's delicate skin was not designed for withstanding a couple of tons of penetrating forces. On the other hand, a salty's prehistoric armor looks a bit more weatherproof. 4. Jaw size. So we have a situation where a great white shark has enough jaw size to bite the body of a salty, but lacks the bite force and the teeth to make it count. The salty has enough bite force and the right teeth to do serious damage to whatever it can put in its mouth. But its mouth is not big enough for a great white shark. In my opinion, victory goes to the crocodile. A great white shark is most likely to die from missing a fin, but a salty can live just fine without a leg. Killer whale versus sperm whale. Who would win a battle between these two giants? Let's go into the depths of the oceans and let's see who wins this war. The killer whale is one of the largest of the toothed whales, and possibly the most famous. Also called orcas, killer whales are incredibly intelligent predators, which hunt a variety of prey species. Throughout history, orcas have been inadequately considered, and the lack of knowledge about them, as well as the myths that have circulated for generations, have caused them to be catalogued as sea monsters, enemies of all aquatic species, and mainly killer whales. The sperm whale is the largest of the toothed whales, and makes many people think of the Moby Dick story when they see one. The name of this whale is from the huge bulbous organ containing a liquid wax called spermaceti. This wax can be heated or cooled, possibly by water drawn in through the whale's blowhole, and therefore shrinks and increases its density, assisting the whale to sink, or expands and decreases its density, assisting the whale to come up to the surface. Size and description. Orcas are considered the largest species of the dolphin family. They weigh up to 6 tons, 5,443 kilograms, and grow to 23 to 32 feet, 7 to 9.7 meters. That is almost as long as a school bus. Orcas are known for their long dorsal fin, the fin on the animal's back, and black and white coloring. Just behind the dorsal fin is a patch of grey called a saddle, because it looks like a riding saddle. An orca's body is cylindrical and tapers at both ends to form an aerodynamic shape. The skull is a meter or more in length and holds the largest brain of all the dolphins, averaging 5.6 kilograms, 12.3 pounds. The muscles that close the mouth are enormous, and within the jaws is a set of more than 40 interlocking curved teeth. Most of the teeth are large, measuring about 10 centimeters, 4 inches long, and 4 centimeters, 1.6 inches wide. The sperm whale is the largest toothed whale. Males reach 60 feet, 17 meters in length, and can reach 40 to 50 tons, and the smaller females are 37 feet, 12 meters, and weigh about 14 to 18 tons. They are dark grey in color, have a hump rather than a dorsal fin, and usually display their tail flukes when they dive. Their skin is wrinkled to increase surface area for heat loss, giving them a shriveled look. Their heads make up 1/3 of their body length and are squarish in shape. They have a single S-shaped blowhole located far forward and to the left of their head, which produces a distinctive angled spout or blow. Males have about 40 to 50 teeth, located only in their narrow lower jaw. Females have even fewer teeth. On average, the brain weighs about 17 pounds, 7.7 kilograms. Range and habitat. Killer whales are the most widely distributed mammals, other than humans. They live in the oceans and seas surrounding most coastal countries. They adapt very well to any climate. For example, they can live in the warm waters near the equator or the icy waters of the North and South Pole regions. Orcas are more likely to be found at higher latitudes and near the shore, though. These animals do not stay in one area and have been documented traveling long distances. For example, one study found a group of orcas traveling all the way from the waters off of Alaska to those near central California. This is a distance of more than 2,000 kilometers, more than 1,200 miles. Sperm whales live in every ocean in the world, but stay away from the extremely cold waters near the polar ice in the north and the south. Females usually remain in temperate and tropical waters within 45 to 55 degrees latitude, whereas males travel in temperate waters. Sperm whales prefer deep water around ocean trenches, where strong currents flow in opposite directions, bringing concentrated nutrients to the area and attracting a large number of creatures that the sperm whales can eat. In California, sperm whales can be seen in waters off the continental slope from November to April. Diet. Orcas are apex predators, at the top of the food chain. No other animals, except for humans, hunt orcas. Killer whales feed on seabirds, squid, octopuses, sea turtles, sharks, rays, and fish. They also eat most marine mammals, such as seals and dugongs. The only exceptions are river dolphins and manatees. Killer whales have also been reported to eat moose. Orcas use many different techniques to catch prey. Sometimes they beach themselves to catch seals on land, meaning they jump from the water onto land. Orcas will also work together to catch larger prey or groups of prey, such as schools of fish. Sperm whales are carnivores that primarily hunt squid, but also eat octopuses, fish, and bioluminescent tunicates. The whales have excellent vision and may hunt by watching the water above them for squid silhouettes or by detecting bioluminescence. They can dive for over an hour and at depths of up to 6,600 feet in search of food, using echolocation to map their surroundings in the dark. Aside from humans, the only significant sperm whale predator is the orca. Behavior. Orcas are very social and live in groups called pods, which usually have up to 40 members. There are two different kinds of pods. A resident pod is less aggressive and tends to prefer fish. Transient pods act much like wolf packs and are much more aggressive. They hunt marine mammals by working together. A female killer whale will give birth every 3 to 10 years to one offspring at a time. Orcas can live from 50 to 100 years. Orcas use echolocation to talk to each other and hunt. They will make a sound that travels through the water until sound waves hit an object. Then, the sound wave will bounce back to the orca. Using this technique, they are able to detect where objects and other orcas are in the area. They can also find out the size and shape of an object using echolocation. Orcas are black and white for a reason. Their coloring helps to camouflage them by obscuring their outline in the water. Female and young male sperm whales are social and sometimes are seen in pods or groups of up to 50 whales. Sperm whales are champion divers and are thought to dive to depths greater than 3,000 feet, 1,000 meters, and stay underwater for up to 2 hours. Just as amazingly, they get to these depths in a matter of minutes. Sperm whales also produce a series of clicks called codas. Each whale has a distinctive coda, and scientists think that other sperm whales recognize each other by their codas. There is also evidence that they produce intense bursts of sound to stun their prey. The sperm whale is a species that is known to strand in large groups. When sleeping at night, whales are positioned vertically with their heads near the surface. Now let's see who will win the fight. Killer whale or sperm whale? This is about the largest predatory event you can witness on our planet. The largest apex predator taking on one of the largest prey species. Truly a battle of titans. Orcas are famous for killing whales, even sperm whales, 3 times their size. The orca is a very intelligent animal. There is evidence to suggest that they are highly intelligent creatures, whose brain components are parallel to those from great apes, elephants, and even humans. A bull sperm whale in his prime is too big, too unpredictable, and too mean for one killer whale. A female sperm whale is about half the size of a male, and based on reported encounters, it takes a sizable effort from an orca pod to take even a female out. This is why when the killer whales want to attack a sperm whale, they will do it on the pods. Despite the huge size advantage that sperm whales have, and their massive jaws that hold the largest set of teeth in the world, sperm whales are terrified in the presence of killer whales. When sperm whales are attacked, they often form a rosette, a wagon wheel formation with their heads pointed in and their tails pointed out. When they are in this formation, they flail the water with their massive tails in an effort to ward off the attackers. The killer whales must be very careful around agitated sperm whales, because a slap from that tail could be life-threatening. After many hours of putting pressure on the sperm whale, and due to their very fast attacks, 28 miles per hour, 45 kilometers per hour, I think the killer whale group would eventually kill the sperm whale. That's if the sperm whale is alone.
What if a bull shark and a tiger shark fought? Who do you think would be victorious in a fight? The shark species as we know them have been around for 100 million years. This means that they were dwelling the oceans when dinosaurs were roaming the land. These unique animals cause all kinds of human feelings: fear, awe, curiosity, respect, and love. They have been widely represented in the popular culture as ruthless predators, which is the main reason why they cause all these different reactions. Bull sharks are a notoriously aggressive species of shark, native to shallow coastal waters in warm regions. They are also capable of moving into brackish water systems where salt and fresh water mix. People have also found them in fresh water, but this is less common. This species is responsible for many shoreline shark bites, including some of those blamed on other species. Tiger shark is the only living species of the genus Galiocerdo and is also known as sea tiger, but it should not be confused with another species called leopard shark. It is called tiger because of the dark vertical stripes on its body. Size and description. Bull sharks are distinguished from other sharks by their body's high width to length ratio, giving them a stout appearance. Like many fish, bull sharks exhibit counter shading or dark coloration on top and light coloration on the underbelly. This helps the animals blend into their surroundings. From above, its dark back blends into the murky water below, but from below, its white belly blends into the sunlit waters above. Male bull sharks grow to about 7 feet, 2.1 meters in length, and females grow to 11 feet, 3.3 meters or more. Adults usually weigh between 200 and 500 pounds, 91 to 227 kilograms. Tiger shark is one of the largest that inhabit the oceans. It reaches a maximum length of 24.6 feet, 7.5 meters, but on average measures between 9.8 to 13.7 feet, 3 and 4.2 meters long, while its weight ranges between 848 to 1,400 pounds, 385 and 635 kilograms. This shark has dark stripes on its skin, similar to those of the land tigers. However, in the case of these sharks, these bands fade as the individual gets old. The background color of their skin is bluish-green or dark gray in the upper area, and the ventral region is a yellowish color or white. Its fusiform body has a narrow snout and a blunt nose. Its tail has the upper lobe larger than the lower, and its mandible has serrated teeth, important to break the hard shells of the clams and the sea turtles. It possesses an excellent sense of sight, as well as smell. Range and habitat. Bull sharks live along shallow coastlines in warm areas of the world. They are somewhat cosmopolitan, and populations reside across much of the Earth in warm regions. On the west coast of the Americas, they range from Baja California to Ecuador. In the western Pacific Ocean, they reside from the coast of the northern United States all the way to Brazil. They also range along the coasts of Africa, parts of India, Australia, and a number of islands in the eastern Pacific. These sharks prefer hunting in shallow waters that are close to the coast.
Most bull sharks reside in waters less than 100 feet deep, 30 meters. They live in warm waters and can travel from the ocean into rivers and lakes. There are even constant populations in a number of major rivers, including the Mississippi River, the Brisbane River, the Amazon River, and more. After storms and flooding, it is common to find bull sharks in inland lakes and rivers they might not normally be able to access. The tiger shark is found in tropical and subtropical waters around the world, but mostly inhabit a range between the parallels 45 degrees north and 32 degrees south. Its presence ranges from the east coast of North America to the east coast of Brazil, including the Gulf of Mexico, the oceans of China, India, Africa, Japan, and the Pacific Islands are also places where the tiger shark dwells. It is a saltwater species and often approaches near the coasts with relatively shallow waters, 2.5 to 1.5 meters deep. It inhabits seagrass, but also near atolls and even estuaries. It does not always stay in one place, so its habitat is changing. Diet. While bull sharks will eat a wide variety of prey, their primary food source is fish, sharks, and stingrays. Like most shark species, they are opportunistic and feed on just about anything that they can safely eat. They will cannibalize smaller bull sharks when given the opportunity. Other, less common prey species include turtles, crabs, birds, land mammals, and marine mammals. Most hunt alone, but researchers have spotted bull sharks hunting in packs on occasion. The tiger shark is a solitary hunter, usually hunting at night. The tiger shark is a dangerous predator, known for eating a wide range of prey. Its usual diet consists of fish, seals, birds, smaller sharks, squid, and turtles. It has sometimes been found with man-made waste, such as license plates or pieces of old tires, in its digestive tract. The tiger shark is notorious for attacks on swimmers, divers, and surfers in Hawaii, and is often referred to as the bane of Hawaiian surfers and the wastebasket of the sea. Behavior. Bull sharks are usually solitary hunters, but sometimes they do hunt in pairs. They can cruise through shallow waters with quick acceleration and high aggression toward other animals and humans. They are known for its unpredictable, often agile and aggressive behavior. Young sharks are often seen spinning out of the water. They are believed to be responsible for most attacks on humans, much more than great white and tiger sharks. The tiger shark is a fish that prefers to live alone unless it is in the mating period. During that time, it meets with other tiger sharks and groups, establishing a social hierarchy based on their size, so larger individuals have access to prey before the small ones. Once the elders are satisfied, the others can approach the carcasses of the unfortunate prey. Despite this dominating behavior, violence between members is almost nil. These sharks perform their hunting activities during the night, and because of their indiscriminate eating habits, they usually ingest non-edible objects and taste human flesh, although attacks are rare. What do you think? Who would win this fight? On average, tiger shark has nearly twice the size of the bull shark. The bull shark is more aggressive, but that does not mean the tiger shark is not aggressive. It will eat anything that fits in its mouth. Additionally, tiger sharks have a more unique way of hunting. A bull shark often uses the bump and bite, which is the typical Jaws scene where it circles the prey and bumps it a bit to figure out what it is biting, then circles around and jumps right in aggressively. The tiger shark doesn't usually give as much room to escape or plan.
It slowly approaches the prey, then when it gets close enough, uses a huge burst of speed to race in and grab the prey. So, size being more likely to make the first strike, I definitely think that the tiger shark wins this battle. With that size difference, it's hard for me to believe that a bull shark's teeth or anything like that would make much of a difference in its favor. Great white shark versus Pacific giant octopus. Who would win in a battle? The oceans are home to some of the largest and deadliest animals on the planet. Home to the giant blue whale and deadly creatures like the box jellyfish, the ocean has a plethora of interesting creatures, many of which are still unknown. Two oceanic creatures that have severely interested mankind are sharks and octopuses. Stories of these creatures have led to the creation of monsters and deities all over the world. The great white shark belongs to the lamniphores and is one of the largest predatory fish in the world. This predator remains one of mankind's most feared sharks, both because of inaccurate information and because the great white shark has, indeed, been responsible for a number of attacks, sometimes fatal, on swimmers, surfers, and divers. The giant Pacific octopus, known scientifically as Enteroctopus dolphin, is a cephalopod found throughout the Pacific Ocean and is considered the world's largest octopus species. Cephalopod is derived from a Greek word meaning head feet. Scientists have taught these brilliant animals to open jars, mimic other animals, and solve mazes in lab tests. What do they look like? Great whites can grow to be about 15 to 20 feet, 4.6 to 6.1 meters or more, and can weigh more than 5,000 pounds, 2,268 kilograms. Though massive, the great white is not the biggest shark. This classification goes to the whale shark, which is not considered a predatory fish. Great white sharks have large heads with cone-shaped snouts. This shark's body is shaped like a torpedo, making it hydrodynamic so it can move easily through the water. The top half of the shark's skin is grey-colored and the bottom half is white. Sharks have secondary rows of teeth behind the front row. These backup teeth are ready to move into place if a tooth is lost, and the teeth will continue to grow in this conveyor belt fashion. The average giant octopus grows to a length of about 16 feet, 4.8 meters, from the top of its body to the tip of its arms, and weighs between 70 and 110 pounds, 31 to 50 kilograms, making it the world's largest octopus species. It grows to its largest size when living in the North Pacific's colder waters and tends to be smaller when living in warmer waters. The size record is held by a specimen that was 30 feet across, 9.1 meters, and weighed more than 600 pounds, 272 kilograms. Although they are large animals, octopuses can squeeze their bodies to fit through any space larger than its beak. Female giant Pacific octopuses are generally larger than males. The giant Pacific octopus stands are typically a reddish-brown color with massive bulbous heads and a mantle. Each of the octopus's 8 arms has 2 rows of suckers. The mantle houses the octopus's organs, including the kidneys, liver, stomach, gills, reproductive organs, intestine, and brain. Since octopuses are mollusks and don't have outer shells, they use their camouflage abilities to blend into their surroundings and stay safe. It secretes black ink when threatened. Where do they live? Although great white sharks love the coastal areas in all oceans from all over the world,
They typically live on the outskirts of shore waters. Sometimes they stray into the deep ocean and are even found in depths of 1,000 meters, 3,280 feet or more. But their preferred water temperature is from 59 degrees Fahrenheit to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. So most of the time they stay in shallow waters and near the surface. As their name would suggest, this species inhabits the Pacific Ocean. It lives in coastal areas, mostly in seas that are shallower than 330 feet deep. You can find Pacific octopus off the western coast of the United States and Canada, and up along the southern coast of Alaska. They also range across the Bering Strait to northeast Russia, down to China and Japan. These octopuses live in relatively cold waters in the Pacific Ocean. These creatures live on the seafloor and use crevices, rocky outcrops, and other structures as dens. Their dens provide them with a place to hide from predators, and the octopuses can even provide further protection by building walls and covers for their dens. How and what do they hunt? Great white sharks are smart hunters. Generally, they use specific strategies to catch their prey, such as surprising their prey from below. By far, their preferred prey is a seal, but they also seem to like sea lions, some species of dolphins, and select species of whales. The shark can replace its teeth as they break off. Once prey has been seized between these mighty saws, the shark shakes its head in much the same way as a dog, tearing off chunks of meat, which are then swallowed whole. One bite can tear off a 30 pounds, 14 kilograms piece of flesh. This is usually why attacks on humans are fatal. The giant Pacific octopus is a carnivore and eats a wide variety of seafood, including clams, crabs, fish, small sharks, seabirds, and other octopuses. They typically hunt at night, using their tentacles and suckers to restrain their prey. They use their sharp beaks to puncture and tear flesh, and seem to eat any animal within their size range. After eating, the octopus discards its prey's shell, stacking it in a pile outside its den. The stack of shells is known as an octopus's garden. How do they behave? Little is known about the social behavior and natural history of the white shark. There appears to be no apparent social structure. However, there is evidence that some sharks may be territorial and assume dominance hierarchies around feeding areas. White sharks are largely solitary, but some pairs have been seen to travel together and associate for long periods of time. Cephalopods have large, complex brains and well-developed nervous systems with the capacity for long-term memory, learning, tool use, and problem-solving. They also exhibit very distinct individual personality traits. Their intelligence and excellent eyesight can sometimes make them seem quite alien as they observe us observing them. They typically live a solitary life, unless it is the time for reproduction, and are primarily nocturnal creatures, moving around at night to hunt for food. These animals are not at all aggressive and would rarely attack or bite humans unless threatened. Sometimes an individual would spend weeks in a cave, crawling out only when hungry. Who would win a fight between the legendary great white shark and the biggest octopus? In terms of size, it is clear that the shark is much larger and more solid. In this case, for a correct fight, we will have to refer to a huge giant octopus, which will weigh over 440 pounds, 200 kilograms. A typical 100-pound octopus can kill a shark, but no one is as mighty as the fearless great white. The Pacific giant marine octopus camouflages himself nicely against the underwater rock and reef-dwelling plants and life forms. This three-hearted beast is super intelligent, especially compared to sharks, whose immense brain contains about 300 million neurons. The lone shark approaches a reef, lurking around endlessly for the scent of blood. Little does he know, a hidden giant octopus is stealthily approaching, seemingly invisible to the shark's poor vision. As the oblivious shark turns its body away from the reef, he's suddenly grabbed by long, thick tentacles. The shark turns to face his attacker. However, if the octopus manages to catch the shark, it will be hard for me to believe that it will let it go. At the same time, it will attack it with its beak packed with an enormity of toxic venom. Saliva in the giant Pacific octopus contains the proteins tyramine and cephalotoxin, which paralyze or kill the prey. I'm not sure if this will work for such a large shark. However, if the octopus manages to paralyze the shark, the fight is over. At the same time, if the octopus doesn't use its intelligence to hide and attack the shark by taking it by surprise, and the shark will be able to bite the octopus, the scales would tip in favor of the shark. I am waiting for your comments, to see your opinion. At the same time, you can join the community to vote for this fight.
Blue whale versus killer whale pod. The biggest animals on Earth versus the supreme predators. Who is the king of the oceans? While the orca is also known as the killer whale, can this killer whale take down one of the largest living creatures known to man? Let's compare and contrast some information about the blue whale and the orca, and then see who would win in a fight. The blue whale, Balænoptera musculus, is the largest animal ever known to have lived on the planet, including all dinosaurs. It is larger than adults from most other animal species, even at birth. The world is full of amazing and fascinating creatures, but the blue whale is in a class by itself. The killer whale, also known as orca, is the top predator in the ocean. It is the largest dolphin in the Delphinidae family. Size and description. Blue whales have long and slender body shapes. The blue whale gets its name from its mottled blue-gray color, which appears light blue underwater. Antarctic blue whales are generally larger than other blue whale subspecies. Blue whales, for example, can reach heights of 90 feet, 27 meters, and weigh more than 100,000 pounds, 45.3 tons, in the North Atlantic and North Pacific. But in the Antarctic, they can reach heights of 110 feet, 33.5 meters, and weigh more than 330,000 pounds, 150 tons. Female blue whales, like many other baleen whales, are larger than males. The body of an orca is cylindrical and tapers at both ends to form a hydrodynamic shape. This shape, combined with the orca's large size and strength, makes it one of the fastest marine mammals, capable of exceeding 30 knots, about 34 miles per hour, or 56 kilometers per hour. Orcas have immense teeth that can grow to be 4 inches, 10 centimeters long. Male orcas are larger than females, but their size and weight vary depending on the species. The largest orca ever recorded measured 32 feet, 9.8 meters, and weighed 22,000 pounds, 10,000 kilograms. Range and habitat. Except for the Arctic, blue whales can be found in all oceans. They typically migrate seasonally between summer feeding grounds
and winter breeding grounds, but some evidence suggests that some individuals may not migrate at all. Their range in the North Atlantic Ocean extends from the subtropics to the Greenland Sea. Blue whales have been spotted in the waters off eastern Canada and the eastern United States shelf waters. Eastern North Pacific blue whales are thought to spend the winter off of Mexico and Central America, off the west coast of the United States. From December to March, blue whales with young calves are frequently spotted in the Gulf of California. There is a resident population in the northern Indian Ocean. Antarctic blue whales are found primarily in relatively high latitude waters south of the Antarctic convergence and close to the ice edge in the southern hemisphere during the summer. Other than humans, killer whales are the most widely distributed mammals. They can be found in every ocean on the planet and have adapted to a variety of climates, from the warm waters near the equator to the icy waters of the North and South Poles. Orcas have been observed traveling long distances. According to the IUCN, one study discovered that a group of orcas traveled from the waters off Alaska to those near central California, a distance of more than 1,200 miles, 1,900 kilometers. Diet and hunting. Despite their huge size, blue whales feed on relatively small prey, primarily tiny shrimp-like animals called krill. Like some other whales, blue whales possess baleen, stiff plates made of hair-like structures in place of teeth. When they feed, they expel seawater out of their mouths through the baleen, and the krill stay trapped inside. A blue whale can eat up to 7,715 pounds of krill per day, 3,500 kilograms. Young blue whales consume 100 to 150 gallons, 378 to 567 liters of milk each day from their mother. Orcas are at the top of the food chain and eat a wide variety of fish, penguins, and marine mammals such as seals, sea lions, and even whales. They have been observed grabbing seals right off the ice. They eat fish, squid, and seabirds as well. Orcas hunt in deadly pods, which can number up to 40 individuals. Orcas appear to have both resident and transient pod populations. These various groups may prey on different animals and employ various methods of capture. All pods employ effective, cooperative hunting techniques that some compare to wolf-pack behavior. Blue whales occasionally swim in small groups, but they are more often seen alone or in pairs. They spend the summers feeding in polar waters and then make long migrations to equatorial waters as winter approaches. Blue whales typically swim at 5 miles per hour while feeding and traveling, but can reach speeds of more than 20 miles per hour in short bursts. They are among the loudest animals on the planet, emitting a series of pulses, groans, and moans, and it is thought that sounds emitted by blue whales can be heard by other whales up to 1,000 miles away in the right oceanographic conditions. Scientists think they use these vocalizations to communicate and, along with their excellent hearing, perhaps to sonar navigate the dark ocean depths. Orca social structures are complex, and most are organized in matriarchal societies. Within a subpopulation, several pods exchange members for breeding purposes. It is critical for the pod to maintain strong group cohesion and communication. The bonds between a female and her calf are the strongest within an orca social group. But once they reach adulthood, they leave the mother to travel alone or with another pod. Unlike other animal species, female killer whales are dominant in their society. The majority of the orca's time is spent swimming, feeding, and playing. A portion of the remaining time is spent on social and recreational activities. Finally, the rest of the day is spent resting and sleeping. We're only talking about 2 or 3 hours. Individual behavior includes tail or fin jumps and bumps into the water, as well as the emission of various sounds. Some of these are made to look at his prey or to communicate. To remove dead skin, some killer whales rub themselves with rocks. Now it's time for the fight. The offensive abilities of the blue whale differ greatly from those of the average orca. If it weren't for the blue whale's massive size, the average orca would probably win with its powerful teeth alone. However, don't count the blue whale out. It has its own offensive capabilities, including its large tail and extremely noisy way of communicating, capable of disorienting the average orca. It is a difficult call to make, but given the fact that the orca has a bite force of around 20,000 psi. However, in a one-on-one fight between a single orca and a single blue whale, there is very little that an orca can do to defend itself. Killer whales, on the other hand, can launch coordinated attacks and collaborate to exhaust their prey. Of course, being one of the most intelligent creatures on the planet, they will always seek out easier prey, such as young blue whales or calves. However, not even the massive blue whale is safe. It hasn't been known for a while whether orcas, often known as killer whales, actually hunt whales or how frequently. Nor did we know how the whales themselves might react to such attacks. For the first time, killer whales have now been seen engaging in coordinated, vicious attacks against a blue whale, the largest animal on Earth. In 3 consecutive attacks off the coast of Australia in January 2019, killer whales, led by females, have been seen murdering and consuming blue whales, according to a report published in Marine Mammal Science. These apex predators had already been seen chasing blue whales, according to reports. The details of how orcas swim inside the mouth of the blue whale to consume its tongue shortly before it dies are included in this research, which is the first to officially document these killings. All of the attacks took place within 40 miles, 60 kilometers of the shore off Bremer Bay in Western Australia, and they were all seen by professional whale-watching vessels. All 3 incidents involved a large number of different female killer whales. Killer whale populations often specialize in one particular kind of prey, but those in Bremer Bay have an unusually varied diet. Using similar pack hunting techniques, they have also been seen attacking deep-diving beaked whales, Antarctic minke whales, and yearling humpback whales. Squid versus octopus. Who is the most powerful and can win a fight? You certainly already know that octopuses and squids are 2 distinct species, but how much information could you actually impart if one grabbed you and wouldn't let go until you could identify every distinction? They both have many arms and are bony sea creatures after all. Not to mention the question of what constitutes an arm and what constitutes a tentacle. There are a number of significant variances. The longest gigantic squid ever documented by scientists was about 43 feet, 13 meters in length. You'd think such a massive animal wouldn't be difficult to overlook. However, because the ocean is wide and gigantic squid reside deep beneath the surface, they remain elusive and rarely seen. Much of what we know comes from dead carcasses that drifted to the surface and were discovered by fishermen. Giant Pacific octopuses are cephalopods and are related to squid and cuttlefish. The name cephalopod comes from the fact that their arms are connected directly to their heads. Contrary to popular belief,
Octopus's 8 appendages are called arms, not tentacles. The giant Pacific octopus is the largest and longest living of all octopus species. Size and appearance. Giant squids are fascinating organisms recognized for their large size and distinct anatomical characteristics. Giant squids are among the largest organisms in the water, with some reaching lengths of 43 feet, 13 meters, and weighing more than 600 pounds, 272 kilograms. A gigantic squid's mantle or body can be up to 7 feet, 2.1 meters long, while its 8 arms and 2 longer tentacles can be up to 33 feet, 10 meters long. Giant squids, despite their enormous size, are elusive organisms that reside at tremendous depths, making them difficult to study and observe in their native habitat. Giant squids have a distinctive coloring that allows them to blend in with their surroundings in the deep sea. Their bodies are typically reddish-brown in color, with lightish pinkish arms and tentacles. The large eyes of giant squids, which may measure up to 10 inches, 25 centimeters in diameter, are one of its most distinctive morphological characteristics. The typical gigantic octopus is the largest species of octopus in the world, growing to a length of roughly 16 feet, 4.87 meters from the top of its body to the tip of its arms, and weighing between 70 and 110 pounds, 31 to 50 kilograms. Despite being big animals, octopuses can fit their bodies through any hole bigger than their beaks. In general, female gigantic Pacific octopuses are bigger than males. The amount of light, nutrients, and temperature in their environments all affect how big they can go. The huge bulbous heads and a mantle of the big Pacific octopus are usually a reddish-brown tint. There are 2 rows of suckers on each of the octopus's 8 arms. The mantle houses the octopus's organs, including the kidneys, liver, stomach, gills, reproductive organs, intestine, and brain. Because they are mollusks and lack an outer shell, octopuses can hide by using their natural ability to camouflage. It kills prey with its keratin beak, which it uses to tear it into pieces before swallowing. It secretes blank ink when threatened. Range and habitat. Giant squid are found throughout the North Atlantic Ocean, particularly near Newfoundland, Norway, the Northern British Isles, and the oceanic islands of the Azores and Madeira, to the South Atlantic in southern African waters, the North Pacific around Japan, and the southwestern Pacific around New Zealand and Australia. In the Southern Ocean, they are circumglobal. Specimens are uncommon in tropical and polar regions. Giant squids are commonly found between 656 to 3,280 feet, 200 and 1,000 meter deep in the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. They have, however, been discovered at depths of up to 7,381 feet, 2,250 meters. The giant Pacific octopus lives throughout the Pacific Ocean. These aquatic animals live off the coasts of Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California, British Columbia, Korea, Japan, and Russia. It can migrate from the surface to a depth of 6,600 feet, 2,000 meters when necessary, and thrives in cold, oxygenated water. They can be discovered at depths of up to 300 feet, 91 meters in rocky coastal locations. They are typically found in tide pools and cracks and flourish in cold, nutrient-rich environments. They can be found living in caves, under boulders, or in cracks in the rock. Food habits. They have 8 arms and 2 larger feeding tentacles, like other squid species, to help them bring food to their beak-like mouths. Their diet is most likely made up of fish, shrimp, and other squid, and some believe they may even assault and consume small whales. A predator that consumes a wide range of foods, including clams, crabs, fish, tiny sharks, seabirds, and other octopuses, is the huge Pacific octopus. They mainly hunt at night, entangling their prey with their tentacles and suckers. They appear to eat any animal that falls within their size range and utilize their razor-sharp beaks to shred and penetrate flesh. The octopus discards its prey's shell after devouring it by stacking it outside of its habitat. The collection of shells is described as an octopus's garden. Behavior. Despite being one of the two largest extant invertebrate species and a source of fascination for humans for ages, little is known about the species. This is due to their apparent affinity for living in extremely deep ocean habitats. Sperm whales are the only known predators of adults of the species, aside from other giant squids. While hunting squid, these predatory whales will dive hundreds of feet below the surface. Although it has not been proved, there is evidence that pilot whales consume the giant cephalopod. Other huge animals, such as deep-sea sharks and other predators of the deep, will prey on juvenile giant squid. Sharks, sperm whales, sea otters, and harbor seals all eat young and adult big Pacific octopuses. Undoubtedly, the biggest predator of the enormous Pacific octopus is man. These animals have been hunted by humans for food and as Pacific halibut bait. Adult gigantic Pacific octopuses can, however, blend in with their surroundings, hide in protected dens, or blend in with the kelp to evade predators. Due to their jet propulsion capabilities, they may quickly flee while hiding from predators in a cloud of black ink. As a defense against predators, they also utilize their arms. Now let's find out who would win a fight, a giant squid or a giant Pacific octopus. It is difficult to say which would win in a battle between a giant squid and a giant octopus, as both are formidable creatures with unique strengths and abilities. Both giant squids and giant octopuses are large, intelligent, and highly adaptable creatures that can be found in the deep ocean. Giant squids are known for their large size, powerful tentacles, and sharp beaks, while giant octopuses are known for their intelligence, camouflage abilities, and ability to escape from predators. The gigantic squid is substantially larger in terms of size. The gigantic squid wins on average to average bulk and size. Also, no disrespect to the octopus, but the squid is simply a more vicious hunter. Octopedes are good predators who may catch you off guard, but they are not violent attack swimmers. They are not intended for full-fledged brawling. The fight goes to the giant squid. Most people, however, are unaware of how aggressive and unpleasant squid can be. When hunting, the sperm whale is one of the few species that recognize gigantic squid as a normal meal item. In comparison to the octopus, giant squid have massive snapping beaks that can punch huge holes in their prey, and they are rather swift and nimble underwater. The fact that the enormous octopus would hunt sharks on a regular basis amazed me. Simply hide among the rocks, wait for it to swim by, then catch it and drag it backwards, flipping it upside down and drowning it. However, as I said above, do I think the squid would win this fight? What is your opinion? Tiger shark versus saltwater crocodile. In a battle between these two predators, who would win? Crocodiles and sharks are two of the world's deadliest predators. They're two species that have not changed much in millions of years because they're already experts at what they do: eat other animals. Stay with us until the end to find out who wins this fight. Before we start, consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell so you're the first one to see our new videos. The tiger shark is one of the world's largest sharks.
It is found in many of the tropical and temperate regions of the world's oceans and is especially common around islands in the Central Pacific. It is the only member of the genus Galliocerdo. The saltwater crocodile, Crocodilus porosus, is a saltwater crocodile that can be found in saltwater habitats and brackish wetlands from India's east coast to northern Australia and Micronesia. It was hunted for its skin across its range until the 1970s, and it is now endangered due to illegal hunting and habitat loss. For people who share the same environment, it is considered dangerous. What do they look like? Tiger sharks can achieve weights of 850 to 1,400 pounds, 385 to 635 kilograms, and lengths of 10 to 14 feet, 3 to 4.2 meters. The females are larger than the males, with the largest recorded female tiger shark weighing 3,360 pounds, 1,524 kilograms, at 18 feet, 5.4 meters. Tiger sharks got their name from the fact that they look like tigers. The dark stripes on its skin fade as the shark gets older. The ventral area is white or yellowish, whereas the upper skin is dark grey or bluish green. The skin of tiger sharks lets them camouflage in the water. It employs counter-shading as it camouflages with both the light and dark sides. Their snouts have small pits with Lorenzini ampullae, which allow them to detect electric fields for hunting. The tiger shark's teeth have a sideways tip and sharp serrations, lending to their recognizable appearance. Reaching lengths of more than 23 feet, 6.5 meters, and weighing over 2,200 pounds, 1,000 kilos, the saltwater crocodile is the largest reptile on the planet. The saltwater crocodile has a big head with ridges extending from each eye to the animal's snout center. It has oval scales on its body, and its scutes are smaller than those of other reptiles. Juveniles are identified by pale yellow coloration, as well as black-colored patches and markings on their tail and body. They usually keep this coloring for several years until they reach adulthood. Adult crocodiles, on the other hand, have a darker body with a lighter tan and grey markings. Where do they live? With the exception of the Mediterranean Sea, the tiger shark can be found in temperate and tropical waters all over the world. It's a diverse species that can be found in both open ocean and shallow coastal regions. This shark is adaptable to a wide range of marine environments, but it likes the murky waters of coastal areas. It is commonly found in river estuaries, harbors, and other inlets where runoff from the land provides suitable habitat for a variety of prey items. Tiger sharks can also be found in shallow areas around big island chains such as lagoons and coral atolls on oceanic islands' coasts. It is often seen at the surface, but has been reported at depths of 1,085 feet, 350 meters. Despite the fact that this crocodile species has a wide range, its distribution is spotty. Historically, they could be found across much more of the coastline, but humans have eradicated them from a number of areas. They are only found along India's eastern coast and are rare elsewhere. Northern Australia is home to a big population. Except for a few small areas in Southeast Asia, humans hunted out the majority of the population. Some spotty populations also exist in Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines, where they were once widespread. Saltwater crocodiles can be found in a variety of aquatic environments throughout their range. They can dwell in both fresh and salt water, including brackish water and estuaries, as their names suggest. Some habitats that they commonly inhabit include mangrove forests, beaches, rivers, river mouths, estuaries, islands, and even the open ocean.
What do they eat? Undoubtedly the least discriminative of all species, the tiger shark has a reputation as an animal that will eat almost anything. Sea turtles, rays, other sharks, bony fishes, seabirds, dolphins, squid, various crustaceans, and carrion are among the preferred prey but vary by geographical region. The highly serrated teeth of the tiger shark, along with the saw-like action of swinging the head back and forth, allow it to remove portions from much larger marine animals. Tiger sharks are solitary predators who feed mostly at night when they travel closer to the surface and inshore. Saltwater crocodiles have a variety of prey. Juveniles are restricted to small insects, amphibians, reptiles, crustaceans, and small fish. Adults feed on crabs, turtles, snakes, birds, buffalo, wild boar, and monkeys. Saltwater crocodiles hide in the water, exposing only their eyes and nose. They lunge at prey, often killing it with a single snap of the jaws, then drag the prey underwater, where it is more easily consumed. How do they behave in the wild? The tiger shark's behavior is primarily nomadic, moving from one region to another rather than settling down in one. During the colder months, however, it is guided by warmer currents and remains closer to the equator. The tiger shark has a reputation for being aggressive. The tiger shark, along with the great white, bull shark, and oceanic white-tip shark, is regarded as one of the sharks most deadly to people. These crocodiles are opportunistic predators and would prey upon anything they can fit their jaws on. These animals are fiercely territorial, and it is because of this that they frequently attack other animals, including humans, when they accidentally intrude into their territories. They have a strong homing ability with which they would find their way back home, be it in the same river or a different river system. They use sounds as well as chemical and visual signals to communicate with one another. Body position is also crucial in signaling. Raising the snout would mean submission, while arching the tail would signal a display of threat. Now it's time for the battle. So let's find out, who would win? A tiger shark or a saltwater crocodile? This fight depends, of course, on size. If the shark is large, it is likely to win. But the average crocodile is larger than the average shark, giving it a weight advantage that the shark isn't really used to. Saltwater crocodiles have a powerful bite and the ability to use it to their death-rolling move. Furthermore, a shark's jaw strength and leverage make an extraordinarily powerful bite, and tiger sharks in particular have teeth and sawing behavior well adapted to cutting through thick reptile armor. For example, the turtles they eat. Whichever of these animals gets a good bite first is going to cause big problems for the other. The shark's prey is typically much smaller than the croc, although the croc is used to dragging in prey that is much heavier or otherwise comparable in size, such as water buffalo, tigers, and other medium to large mammals. The shark's main issue will be grabbing onto an unfamiliar, enormous meal. Regardless of how successful it is, it won't truly know where to bite. It's a predator, but it's still a fish. It doesn't have the tactical ability to discover weaknesses other than wounds, as well as the electrical sense to know where the crocodile is. Even though crocodiles have poor water senses, they have a better chance of grabbing it and keeping on because they are used to large prey thrashing in the water. It also has a stronger bite. In my opinion, I believe the fight would be won by the salty. I think it is too big for the tiger shark to handle. But it all depends on who can grab who first. A shark has an edge in deep water, but in shallow water, a crocodile has the upper hand, especially if it grabs the shark and forces water through its gills.